What's up guys, I'm Jessekazam and welcome back to another Escape from Tarkov video. In this video we're going to be diving into a few tips to get better at PvP in Escape from Tarkov. If you're anything like me, then once you kind of got into the game and started understanding the mechanics of Escape from Tarkov, you quickly found that the PvP in this game is so addicting. It is so much fun. There are absolutely insane moments to be had, but it definitely takes work to get good at. So if you're at that place where you're wanting to go for more PvP and trying to get better, hopefully these tips will help you out. If you're new to the channel, I make Escape from Tarkov guides and Escape from Tarkov content, and I also stream Escape from Tarkov about 4 days a week or more at Twitch, and all my links will be down below. But with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive right in. So, as with just about everything in Escape from Tarkov, nothing is going to just work overnight. Especially PvP, there's so much that can happen and so much that will happen to you, and a lot of that is out of your control. But hopefully this is just a few things that you can keep on the top of your mind while you're in these engagements that you can kind of integrate into your gameplay. It's really a process, but it's a really rewarding process to get better at PvP in Tarkov. And I know for me, when I was trying to get better, it was a lot of deaths where I'd immediately be like, I know what I should have done. Just immediately, like, you can feel it. And that's okay. Don't get frustrated at that. Just continue to address those things, what you could have done better, and try to integrate those things into your gameplay style. And that goes beyond just these 5 tips. Anything that you feel like you need to be doing better, it's okay. Be patient and just constantly be thinking about that. But moving right along, the first tip is keep moving. Now, I've talked a little bit about this in some of my other guides where I've talked about repositioning and flanking, and those are good things, right? So repositioning doesn't necessarily mean you have to be aggressive, but it's really just making sure that they don't know where you are. If they see you behind the rock, if they see you behind that tree, if they're going to hold or if they're going to push, they're going to push to those places. So constantly repositioning can be helpful. Of course, there's situations where you're going to want to hold an angle, especially if they don't know where you are. But if you're in an all-out fight, repositioning is good. Flanking is great if you want to be really aggressive and you want to just immediately disengage, pull maybe a wide flank, and get a side angle or a back angle on them. Some of those plays feel really, really good. And incorporating that, not just mashing W, but like, how can I, trick them? How can I get the best of them? But it goes beyond just that. Another great kind of opportunity to keep moving is right at the beginning of a fight. So often if I'm running or if I'm moving from position A to position B, I'm trying to get a quest item or something, I'm on the move and I spot an enemy. And a lot of times you can see almost immediately that they spot you. You know what I mean? If they're kind of stopped and they're looking right at you and they're lining up a shot, in that situation, the best thing to do isn't to stop and then try to acquire them as a target, because most likely they are already ahead of you in that and they're going to get the shot off. So you can make it more difficult for them by continuing to move. You know what I mean? You just never lose that stride. You see an enemy, you see that they're locked on you, start to serpentine or whatever, try to find some hard cover, because that's going to hopefully make it a lot harder for them to hit the shot. And then you get to a safe place that you can now assess, how do I want to take this fight? Do I want to take this fight? And all those things. And then also knowing when to not take a fight, right? So if you see somebody and you're injured or you don't have meds or you're already full of loot and you're weighing that risk, sometimes it's okay to just dip out on a fight altogether. So keep moving is a really general tip. It's all encompassing, but hopefully that shows you of just a few examples of like, you can use movement to gain an upper hand often, however you want to play. If you want to take a fight, if you want to be aggressive, if you want to play slow, constantly moving around the map and moving around the fight can be really helpful to that. The second tip is kind of in line with that, and that's try not to re-peek the same angle. This goes right back to if you're in a fight, right, where they know where you are and you know where they are. This sounds really simple, but I've died so many times to that, because a lot of the times when we're thinking is, oh, I saw them, you're moving to hard cover. Oh, I saw them and I'm going to re-peek it. Or we were in engagement and you just kind of get that feeling like, I know I'm going to be able to hit this shot. And it's just kind of that 50-50. They know where you are, you know where they are, you peek it. If at all possible, even if it's just switching to the other side of hard cover, and even doing that a few times, like you'd be surprised at how something that simple can really give you the upper hand, either if you're just trying to get eyes on where they are or take pot shots or suppress or whatever. But try not to re-peek the same angle that you've already peeked, especially if you guys were shooting at each other during that. You will survive a lot more encounters. The next tip is always know where hard cover is. This is something that I've been trying to incorporate into my gameplay a lot more. And this is whether you're in a fight or out of a fight, always have eyes on where the nearest hard cover is. Now, hard cover is something that can't be shot through. You know what I mean? It's like a boulder, a rock, a wall, something that you know that you can get behind and get safe, even for just a moment. But if you're not aware of hard cover until an engagement has started, then chances are you're going to be far away from it, and you're going to get in this awkward place where I've done this a million times, where you start running because you're like, I need to get away from this because they got the drop on me. Oh, there's no hard cover anywhere close to me. So then I stop running and I turn and I try to acquire the target, all while they're shooting at me, and I just die. So if you can keep this on the top of your mind all of the time, as you're moving across the map, as you're going to quest items, as you're, running down shots, if you're aggressively pursuing PvP, that is going to help you make those snap decisions to know where hard cover is. You can kind of move with the map with hard cover near you at all times. And then if you find yourself not really thinking about that in a PvP encounter, then try to get that on top of mind as well. Knowing where hard cover is not only saves you, but it makes you much harder to shoot because there's much less of you. Because as much as we all want to go for headshots, so many times we die from center of mass shots if we're really exposed. So hard cover is extremely important. The next tip is audio is your friend. Now, once again, this is however you want to play. If you want to be a really aggressive PvP player, or if you want to be somebody that's more passive, that moves slowly and tries to just like one tap people and get those engagements just over and done with. Learning the audio, learning what certain guns sound like, learning specific, if you like to wear, I've talked about this before, if you like to wear the headsets in the game, wearing a specific one so you can start to gauge distance. All of these things are stuff to just, once again, slowly and passively start to get better at as you play. But if you put attention to them, you'll start to learn these skills faster. But learning, what sounds, what makes what sound, what makes the glass crunching sound or the wood sound, some of the tree roots, if you walk on them, it sounds like you're walking inside on wood. Learning to judge distance, like we were saying, all that stuff is going to help you whether you're in a fight and you're trying to kind of locate where they are and you're like, oh, well, I know what that sound is. I know he has to be there. Or if you're just trying to be a really aggressive PvP player and you're just trying to chase down shots. So often I see some of these top tier guys, they're wanting to go for PvP. They hear a gunshot over here or maybe a fight over here. And they're like, okay, I know they're there. Whoever wins that is going to move over here. So I'm just going to post up over here. So learning to use the audio to your advantage, whether you're in a fight, whether you're pursuing a fight, can be really, really helpful. And the last tip is learn the spawns on the map. So much of Escape from Tarkov PvP can happen on a lot of the maps right in the first 5 to 10 minutes of the raid. Some of the top tier players that have thousands of hours in the game are just very aware of where the spawn points in the game are and then what somebody's first move is most likely going to be. So as you play, really start to nail down where those spawns are and think about, okay, every time I spawn here, I generally go this direction. And you start to create paths of, especially of the maps that you play most often, you start to create these paths of most likely movement in the first few minutes of a raid. And if you want PvP and if you're wanting to get better, you can pursue that, or you can defend yourself against people who are really aggressively PvP, because there's nothing more frustrating than that. If you're hopping into a raid and you want to do a quest and you can't get to that quest item because you just keep dying and dying and dying because somebody's just coming right out of the gate and shooting you. So learning the spawn points with PvP in mind is going to be really helpful, once again, whether you want to play slow or whether you want to play fast, because so much happens right in those first few minutes. And then after that, it really kind of becomes a free-for-all depending on how people want to play. So I hope that those tips helped. I hope that they're challenging the way you think, and they're stuff that you can start to integrate into your thought process while you're in a raid and while you're in a firefight. Like we said at the beginning of the video, these firefights happen so fast, especially in Escape from Tarkov, where people can be so deadly. So it's really just about thinking about these things and learning how to slowly integrate them. Because if you put effort into it and you start to think about what I could be doing, you really will accelerate that growth. So I hope that these things kind of helped and that you start surviving more raids and winning at more PvP. Thank you all so much, as always, for taking the time to check out this video. Please drop a comment down below if you have any questions about this, if there's anything I missed, any tips that you have for other players, or if there's any guides you'd like to see me make here in the future. I'm always trying to create content that helps shorten the learning curve of Escape from Tarkov, that helps people strategize and think differently while they're playing, so that Escape from Tarkov can become more fun and you can start surviving more raids. Thank you so much again for stopping by, and I will see y'all on the next one.